We are 14 weeks through the NFL season and just finished 14 weeks through the NFL season. And we have a bunch of surprises, a bunch of teams that have gone on to do great things, that have surprised everyone, that has beaten everyone's expectations. But we also have a few teams that have disappointed a lot of people, not met expectations. We're going to break down one team that has exceeded all expectations and another team that is disappointed all of everyone's preconceived notions about them. We'll be going through one of each, and the disappointing team that I'll be going through today, I think a lot of you guys know who it is. This team basically self-destructed themselves after 5 weeks through the season, so we'll be going through all of that after this. So the first team we have to get to is the Jayden Daniels-led Washington Commanders. Now, I said I was going to cover this team and what they've done this year, but I'm really just going to cover Jayden Daniels because he is 95%, or I would say 85, let's say 80% of what the Washington Commanders, how their success has gone this year. Jayden Daniels, 15 TDs to 6 interceptions, a 69.6% completion rate. And the question, so now that I've laid out those overall numbers, 15 TDs, 6 interceptions, 69.6% completion rate, you might be wondering what makes him so good. And I've picked out a few different stats. Let's get to the first one. The first stat that I think really, when you look at Jayden Daniels, him as a quarterback, him as a player, the first really thing that stands out to me is his ability to create with his legs. He's first in scramble yards, and he's third in designed runs that the team has designed for him. So when you look at Jayden Daniels as a player, a big part of him is scrambling, making plays with his legs. Now, I think the biggest thing with him as a player is his ability to scramble, but also not turn the ball over. We've seen a lot of times in games, he'll scramble, he'll fire it downfield, he completes a pass to a wide receiver, and the biggest thing that makes this guy is so great, what makes this guy so elite, is that when he scrambles out of the pocket, when he makes plays with his legs and then fires it downfield, he doesn't turn the ball over. Like I said before, 6 interceptions on the season. So the biggest thing with him is he just doesn't turn the ball over. He's making plays at the same time. He's making those plays while also just not costing his team. Now, over the time that I've been covering the NFL, you have to talk about how a quarterback, an MVP, lifts up the teammates around him. And that's exactly what Jayden Daniels is doing. He's also doing it with not so great of an offensive line. They're allowing him about 2.96, let's call it 3 seconds rounding up, to throw the ball. That's about how much time each play he has on average to throw the ball. That's 13th best in the league. So it's not like he has a bunch of time in the pocket to scramble out around and wait. A lot of that time is created by him scrambling, like I said. And he's, like I said before, 10th in MVP voting. And one key thing that he has done is he's elevated the play of everyone around him. Take his wide receiver, Terry McLaurin. 61 of 82 targets. He's caught 61 of 82 targets this year, 896 yards. That's 4th in the league. When targeted, Terry McLaurin, passer rating of 141. That's 2nd in the league. So Terry McLaurin went from being like top 15 wide receiver before the emergence of Jayden Daniels this year to being a top 5 wide receiver at 29. And get this, guys, at 29 years old, Terry McLaurin is doing this. So he is broken out, and he's technically past his prime, but he has broken out in the 6th season of his career because of the emergence of Jayden Daniels. Terry McLaurin is having a career season. Take their number 1 running back, Brian Robinson, who has only played 10 games, but through those 10 contests, he's top 15 in explosive runs and top 15 in yards per carry. That is mainly because now teams have to respect the pass as well as the run. Daniels has covered up an otherwise abysmal Washington Commanders defense, who is middle of the pack in points allowed and yards allowed. But last year, they were bottom 5 in both of those categories. I think a big reason why the Washington Commanders is even middle of the pack in both of those categories, their defense is middle of the pack in both of those categories, is because Jayden Daniels, their offense, the Commanders' offense, finally is competent, finally is taking time on drives and giving the defense a little bit more time to rest, which is elevating the play of the defense. And yes, statistically, the Commanders' O-line this year is close to top 10, but like I said before, they're 13th in the league they only allow them about 3 seconds to pass. That's 13th in the league. And like I said before, a lot of that is because of Daniels' scrambling. Because the Commanders' offensive line is statistically a top 10, close to top 10 offensive line, doesn't mean they actually are. He makes the offensive line look so much better with his scrambling, like I said before. So really, that's kind of what lays out the Washington Commanders. They're a potential, it's looking like right now they're going to be a wild card team, and they're potentially a team that, because of the leadership of this young man, this rookie, Jayden Daniels, they're potentially a team that could make actually some noise in the playoffs. And it's not even like they have a super elite roster either. It's that they have an MVP player in his first year, Jayden Daniels, their quarterback. And so when you talk about him, you have to talk about you have to talk about Jayden Daniels. And not often do we see quarterbacks come into a system in their first year and do well. We saw it with CJ Stroud last year, and we're seeing it again with Jayden Daniels this year. When you're talking about downfalls of certain teams, you can't miss the Jets defense and offense. Just the whole Jets team, their organization, their front office in general has majorly failed this season. When you're talking about disappointments, the Jets stands out. They started with Coach Saleh week 5. Well, by week 5, they had fired Coach Saleh, and they didn't even really give their season a chance to develop. Like I said, they say it starts from the coach down, but Saleh got fired week 5. Their GM followed suit in week 11. Their GM, Joe Douglas. It will forever be speculated whether Rodgers had anything to do with the firings of Saleh or Douglas, but I love the memes. I love the memes that have come out of this season with the whole Aaron Rodgers firing both of these guys, but I don't know if he was involved in any of these firings at all, but their offense, before Robert Saleh left, I will give it to the Jets. It was bad. It was averaging just about 20 points per game, which is not good. But I don't think that was the main reason why the team in general was struggling, or the offense in general was struggling. Robert Saleh wasn't the reason. He was mainly over the defense. I think the reason why the offense was struggling was, one, Rodgers, his age. His mobility has greatly declined. If teams get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, he gets flustered. Now, he still has done well this season, 20 TDs to 8 interceptions, but the offense has only gotten to 30 points this season just once. And I think a big part of that is, like I said before, Rodgers, but I also think a big part of that is Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett, their offensive coordinator, I believe he got demoted, but their offensive coordinator, and that's where they have a problem. That's where I have a problem with this team. It shouldn't have been Saleh who got fired. It should have been Hackett who got fired. The defense has even more problems now, more than it did at the beginning of the season. It's funny because the defense has regressed, obviously, ever since Robert Saleh left, right? They don't take the ball away. They're 31st in interceptions. Their run defense is 20th. So if you can't stop the run and you're also not good at taking the ball away, your defense is not going to the result is not going to do well, right? In the last 5 games, they've given up 31 to the Cardinals, not an elite offense. They've given up 28 to Indianapolis, who has an inconsistent thrower in Anthony Richardson. They gave up 26 points to Geno Smith and the Seahawks. I wouldn't call that offense elite either. And that game last week against Seattle, they could have easily blown out the Seahawks, But because of their undisciplinedness on, is that the right word? Undisciplinedness on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, the undisciplined nature of both sides of the ball, they lost to the Seahawks because they were turning it over too. That was a turnover fest. That game was crazy. That game was on drugs. And so they could have easily won that game, but they gave up 26 to Geno. They should have blown out that Seahawks team, but because of the way they've been playing this year, it hasn't been enough. They also gave up 32 points. Today I'm recording this. It's a Sunday. They gave up 32 points to the Dolphins today. And so the last 5 games, they've given up 25 plus points. So that's got to be close to bottom of the league, if not bottom of the league. So this team, really, when you talk about the hype when the offseason started, right, they've not lived up to any of that. Davante Adams didn't fix it. The firing of Saleh didn't fix it. They should have been more patient with him. The fact that they didn't fire Hackett is not working. And that's where I have a problem with Aaron Rodgers, because Hackett is his friend, and maybe that's where they should have maybe said, hey, Rodgers, we love you, but let's fire Hackett. So as far as what does this team do going forward, well, what needs to change? Aaron Rodgers, it's been nice knowing you, but we've got to move on. That's what the Jets need to say. Hackett, the same thing. You got to fire him, man. I'm surprised they haven't already. A full rebuild for the Jets is in place. And this will forever be known as the greatest self-destruction of a franchise. This team brought it upon themselves, and this will be the funniest thing in 10 years when we look at this team and we say they had so much potential, but because of their outright mistakes of the team, they couldn't get it together. This is what happens to you when you let a man who has spent time in an ayahuasca retreat control your team. I'm just kidding. That's another meme. Guys, you have a good rest of your evening. I'm recording this in the evening, and we'll see you in the next one.